Peace, family. Peace. Make sure I need to make sure y'all can hear me, because I don't want to mess up my audio on this one right here, family. So shout out to everybody in the chat. They're funny in the chat room. They said they met 9 p.m. esoteric time. they always got jokes. we almost got 1,000 people. Almost 1,000 people was just waiting for us. So wow, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a heavy hitter show. Listen, family, there are many paths to the light, and I got 3 different paths on here tonight. There are many paths to the light, family. Make sure we're not going to be on here too long. Keep in mind, family, all 3 of these gentlemen are in different time zones. So putting this together, I want to really thank Panic, Dr. Valentine, Billy Carson for agreeing to come, even if it's going to be for a short amount of time. It's extremely hard. Everybody has different schedules. Dr. Valentine is extremely busy with paperwork concerning the juice or whatever. So a lot of people's hollering him out at that, and it's just been very taxing on the brother. Panic, of course, with the panic packs, always holding it down for the family. Billy Carson doing what he do, running multiple businesses. So thank you, gentlemen, for agreeing. It's a very special shout out to Vicky Dillard. Vicky Dillard, I appreciate the support, my sister. She always supports me. We got all the cash apps. Let me put all the cash apps up here. Thank you, Little Goddess, for posting the cash apps. Black Magic 363, $ Sanu 777, and $ Brother Pan. Billy, do you mess with Cash App right now?
Yeah, I have a Cash App. Yeah. Some link to my artist account for Spotify and everything.
All right, what is it? Because somebody in the chat could post that as well. What is it?
Okay. $ Zen Force. That's the $ Z as in zebra, ENFORCE. $ Zen Force.
Little Goddess, please post Billy Carson's. I gotta make you a mod too. Please post his Cash App. I gotta put this out there first because it's very important that we support these gentlemen. Like I said, there's many paths to the light, and you may not. I remember when I first started, I couldn't get immediately into Phil without going through this person or going through that person. So sometimes it's like connecting the dots. I go through this person, then I figure this out from that person. Then from this person, I figure that out from that person. And you just bounce back. So these gentlemen, this is like an all-star basketball team right here. You know, I'm the point guard, yo. I'm the point guard. I'm dribbling. The ball. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so thank you. Make sure you support these gentlemen. They all got and before we begin, also give your websites, because I want to get all this out the way immediately before people forget. And at the end, leave your websites and contact information before we even begin, because this is important. I'll start with Panic. Go ahead, Panic. You can start, my brother.
I mean, my website is Occult Lectures, OccultLecture.com. It's the same as my YouTube page. So you can find products, classes, and book there.
Okay. Mine's is Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, BIDDEN KNOWLEDGE, forbiddenknowledge.com. And you can also go to forbiddenknowledge.tv and get a 3-day free trial on my TV network.
And my university's website is uksnow.org. That's U is for United, K for King, S for Science, NOW.org.
Right. Indeed, we are living some important times. The reason why these gentlemen are actually doing me a favor tonight, I got something important coming up, an important announcement. You know, we often talk a lot about ancestor worship and honoring the ancestors and paying respect to the ancestors. And a lot of you know that my mother passed away when I was younger. Actually, when I was about 26, I believe my mother passed away. I forget exactly what age, but in 2007, my mother passed away. Her profession was, she was a Montessori teacher. That's pre-K for those who don't know. It's pre-K. And she was writing children books at the time before she passed away. And she wrote a book before she passed away that never got published. And she actually co-wrote it with my sister. So it took a while for my sister to publish it. You know, obviously you got things going on in your own personal life. And my sister finally got around to publishing it. And I'm extremely proud. As a son honoring the mother, I want to announce it to the world. I want to announce it to my family. I want to announce it to my YouTube supporters. I want to announce it to brothers I look up to, like Panic, Billy Carson, and Phil Valentine. And here it is right here.
Yes, sir.
Kayla Petey in the Forest.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Excellent.
That's the book right there. Let me put it a little closer.
Wow.
Beautiful.
My mother's name was Adrienne Merritt, and my sister's name is Tiffany Merritt. And it's an absolutely magnificent book.
The colors are beautiful.
Absolutely.
The illustration looks nice.
Absolutely vibrant. So it's important. It's important we see images of ourselves in a positive light. That's how we get confidence. And we know when we do magic, when we're dealing with the law of attraction, confidence is everything. So they break our confidence at an early age. So it's important to get our confidence back. The first thing the brother said was the imagery. The subconscious is all about imagery. So, you'll see images of yourself and don't know why you think a certain thought about yourself, but subconsciously you was programmed at an age. And from the age of 1 to 7, that theta wave and field goes into that. And after that, they got you. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat. I want to thank these gentlemen for helping me promote this. And tonight's show is going to be about ancestor veneration, and honoring the ancestors and the importance of that on an energetic level, us understanding that we're multidimensional energetic beings. It's important to understand how this matrix actually works. We've been lied to a lot. So understanding how the matrix works and communicating with entities and beings in other realms and dimensions will help us navigate this realm better. And as you can see with everything going on around us, with my channel being suspended about 2 times in the last 2 months, these are some very important times, family. Yeah. So with that being said, let's start, family. I'm sure a lot of y'all have shared the link by now. Let's start. We won't be here long. First of all, like I said, Billy Carson is in Egypt. Like I said, we're all in different time zones, so this is going to be about an hour. But I appreciate what these gentlemen could give me tonight. To start out with, from what I understand, from what I research and study. Incarnate, we all know about reincarnation at this time, dealing with this level of information. From what I've read, we incarnate into the same spiritual family group. And if that's they say that's why the elites marry each other to keep the bloodline, keep the money in the bloodline, is all that stuff. Considering that, thinking about that, why is it that we want to honor our ancestors and give respect and honor to them, but it seems like when these ancestors incarnate in this realm and we incarnate in this realm, we don't get along with them motherfuckers. We like the black sheep of everybody that's conscious. There's usually like 1 or 2 conscious people in a whole family. So it's like we honor them when they're in another realm, but when them Negroes get down here, we fight like cats and dogs. So it's kind of a weird dynamic. So I'm just trying to figure out, if the ancestors are so important, why once we get down here, all we do is beef with them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Panic. I'll let you start, my brother.
Please. I'm glad you did, because this is a story I tell in class. With my grandfather, Yokevitz, my aunt Yokevit, who Dr. Phil knows, her father, which is my grandfather, we argue like it was ridiculous. My uncle told me I used to stand on the steps just to meet his eyes. The curse, at 5 years old. You're going to die before me. You're going to be a punk and they're going to beat you up all over Queensbridge. It was like vicious. So after I became conscious, I was going through a whole thing, which was taking me to a few states. All of the early rituals I was doing and following and getting to know spirit self and all of that stuff. I was in Rhode Island in a used bookstore and found a book called Cyclomancy. It's out of print. Actually, it should be around here somewhere. Give me a sec. I'm on a beanbag. That was a bad fucking idea to get on a beanbag. But it looks like this.
Okay.
Out of print. It's called Cyclomancy. Secret Power of Psychic Control. Trying to get the camera right. Frank Rudolph Young. Blew me away, because there was many exercises you can do to open up the pineal, and these exercises were fire. Never seen nothing like it in the stuff I was reading now. The book is from the 60s and out of control. I recommended people find it if they could find it, so much so that I was printing up copies to sell them. We were still in the copy level. Now it's been, all over by PDF. And that was the story of that until my sister went to my grandfather's house and got a picture. Never once got along. And it was a picture of my grandfather holding me as a baby smiling. I said, well, shit, I'm going to blow this up and put this up. Because and did that. And then I remember my father, not his son, but his son-in-law, my father telling me when he passed, he had the biggest occult library, one of the biggest he's ever seen in New York. So I knew he was into it. He was in the OTO and the Thule and all the rest of this crap from his days. So he was grumpy, I can understand now, because he's conscious when nobody else is. At this point, Black people were looking for which Kool-Aid to match with what kind of fish they was eating. So he was he was on an island, a hermit. And so I understand his grumpiness now, but didn't matter when he passed. Like, in fact, he was a hermit, and I seen him on the train once, out of place. Hey, you need anything? What's going on? How? I don't need anything. Like, you okay? You know, I'm okay. Well, you know who I am? Yeah, I know who you are. I'm like, oh, you old motherfucker. He just would not give no space. Yeah. So that's how he passed. So when I got the picture, I remember he had this occult library. I said, let me blow it up to see what books he had. Let me go in. The one book I could make out was this motherfucker on his shelf, Cyclomancy. And I said, God damn, if anybody's paying attention to spirit, that what it showed me, to answer your question, that earth squabble shit means nothing. When you on earth, you're in polarity and you came to squabble. Squabbling is how you're really supposed to get shit done. The conflict. So you need these conflicts, but them shits can dissolve, or maybe not. They're in the astral world. If people are still holding on to their humanity, you can get that grief. It's easier to get past, believe it or not. Now, so long story short, I knew he gave it to me. I've talked to him before, but not in detail, but in more detail. One thing has nothing to do with the other. He showed me how to create a gateway to release. How you have to visualize hard. I'm walking through his building to his door. You must knock for the ancestor to show up. You're knocking on his door in his house. And then once he opens the door, you must lock it. And that locks you off from this world. I visualize myself pretty much just going to his bed and laying down and chilling. I see the room in detail with eyes closed. And when I open my eyes and look at my television, I'm in his room. I have conversations with him in the kitchen. And this is a way to trick your mind into being there. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It's not rational. So it will actually get you to believe that reality. And that's actually the trick of how we do it. We use our visualization and imagination to connect with that energy source. I mean, I could go into detail, but I know there's many of us. I could go into more detail. But long story short, I think the relationship changes. It could be still funky if the person is holding on and they're usually destined for a body again, but he was conscious. So he showed me the book, and the book in then turn was given to the community. But she had his voice. You get what I'm saying? So I guess that's an example.
Indeed. Billy, you go first, and then the elder Dr. Valentine will go last. You can go next.
Yeah, as it should be, man.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the fact that our ancestors are actually living in our bodies right now, and they're coming in through the RNA that comes down through the father's side, and those epigenetic memories literally are calling out to us on a consistent basis. When we're alive and we're in this third dimensional realm and we're experiencing this masculine, feminine energy, this yin and this yang, there's going to be this ongoing battle that seems to pop up, especially for people that seem to become adept initiates or reaching higher levels of consciousness or questioning the status quo. That's going to overturn the apple cart, so to speak, in this third dimensional realm. I believe that once we get we shed this mortal coil and we actually enter into the ethereal realm, and we've got that string connecting to our living ancestors that are still in this realm, they are tapped into the frequency of the epigenetics that's inside of our bodies. Now, this is just my own hypothesis based on what I've researched and thought about over the years and looked into. And so that now we're living in the third dimensional realm, and we're in this third dimensional body. We've got these attachments that through epigenetics are still there from generations and generations. 15 to 20 generations ago, we have these epigenetics, and these ancestors, their strives, their tribulations, their successes, their perseverance, and all the things that happen are inside of us. And so I believe that they are calling out to us in ways that sometimes people don't really even understand. So somebody who may be in this realm may start getting PTSD or maybe even depression, and they're like, my life is perfect. Why can I be depressed? How can I have this PTSD? It's your ancestors, vibration that's calling out to you. And so it may be you may be the one that's going to help heal them or help to get them to the next level. They get send peace to that frequency that exists at a higher level on the other side. And so by us continuing to research, investigation, study, meditate, become adept initiates, understand how to use positive affirmation to reprogram our DNA, and also spread more light into the world, it creates this new higher frequency energetic field that I believe then sometimes releases them and brings them a certain level of peace. In this realm, it may be a head-on battle, but I believe that when you go to the next level, a lot of the frequencies that we're here inhabiting these third dimensional avatar bodies are cheering us on and happy for us meaning the people that seem to be thinking differently, doing differently, and because they may now realize the ultimate truth. And now we are trying to help achieve that ultimate truth in this dimension and spread that word and that knowledge to other people. And I really do believe that, that like Brother said, Brother Panic said, that goes away. It's just eliminated at that level. And that the real true knowledge and the real true unconditional love is the only thing that's really experienced. And when they see us moving into that light in this rougher, harder, tougher, tumble dimension, I think that it frees them. I think it even brings them a certain level of healing as well as we begin to do what we're doing and trying to spread light and love and teach people a different way of thinking. So in this third dimension, yeah, it's a head-to-head battle. But I think long-term what happens is they're calling out to us and we're making them so happy through our different levels of consciousness successes that we're doing here on this planet. And I take pride and joy in everything that I do, because I really feel like I am the dreams of my ancestors coming to fruition, basically, So even though they may have been in religion, they may have been hardcore and all these other things that maybe are not, that we know now as we're developing, maybe not the true total oneness, but they see it now from that perspective, and they're like, wow, yeah, he's getting it, or she's getting it. Wow, keep going, So that's what I think about it, man.
Okay. Dr. Valentine?
Oh, thank you very much. Those are very, very insightful. We have a saying in our school, the push-pull that we have, all this agitation is the trigger to imagination. And imagination is the stargate to evolution. What happens is, because balance, the oneness, as they were speaking about, took on the duality or the plane of duality, it is the agitation that moves us forward, that keeps the flow. Every time something happens to great civilizations, once they reach their peak and they become balanced in everything they do, there's always a decline. Everything has to keep moving forward. It can't stay still. There is always something to challenge the next generation, and therefore we're always going to be agitated in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Those who are not agitated do not feel the sense necessary to move forward, to become innovative. And what happens is our ancestors, they taught about Ma'at. Ma'at swings both ways. We go into great tribulations, and at one point we go to the opposite end where there is a countermeasure to the tribulations, and then it falls back to the center point where there is a balance. We, in the other plane, remember, the mitochondrial DNA in the Black woman is the Alexandrian library of all of our experiences. The Y chromosome is the one that takes that library and activates all potentials within that library, bringing forth the next generation that is always agitating the complacency that the previous generation has created, always challenges what the previous generation feels is its own sense of balance.
Right.
The young generation needs the imbalance in order to grow forward. We need to have the agitation, the competition. That's what keeps us sharp. Then they take a little bit from the older generation and they begin to now become the next foundation or the next adjutant for the next generation. But it's always moving forward. So as you were saying, we look like we're always fighting with one another. Well, essentially, they're fighting up there. You know, the war of the gods, the war in heaven. We're always warring because we are outside of the balance, outside of the oneness. And when you come out of the oneness and you are operating in duality and polarity, there will always be conflict. That is what moves energy forward in the space of duality.
Indeed. Oh, some amazing answers, man. Wow, man. I feel like we can end the show right there, man. Oh, man. Listen. Once again, family, we're not going to be on here too long. So enjoy this. Share this. Make sure you do what you got to do, family. Yes. Keep getting this static. Do y'all hear it?
I don't hear it. I'm
just
good.
Now.
I just heard some static.
Check. All right. Well, let me talk a little lower. Family, I want to share before we get to the next question. Let me show y'all something real quick. Once again, like I said, we're talking about ancestor veneration and honoring the ancestors tonight and the science behind it and why it's important for us on the energetic level. The reason why I decided to do this show is to honor my mother. I'm actually doing the show on Thursday where I'm going to be by myself, and I want all of y'all to join me, or whoever can. It's going to be specifically dedicated to my mother. And that's something that we don't see in real time. We read about ancestor worship and honoring, but we don't get to see it in real time a lot. So on Thursday, I want y'all to tune in at the same time, 9 o'clock, to see a demonstration of a brother named Bro.Rich, who's honoring his mother in real time. So on Amazon, real quick, family, on Amazon, this is the actual page. Like I said, my mother, for those who didn't see here in the beginning, my mother wrote a book before she made the transition to the ancestral realm, and it has just recently been released by my sister. My mother's name is Adrian Merritt, and my sister's name is Tiffany Merritt. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now, and I want y'all to go support. Somebody told me there's echoing on the mic.
There's an
your
echo.
voice, somebody may be up too loud. It's like fading the loop.
Yeah, turn mine all the way down.
I don't hear anything. You sound perfect to me. I don't know why it's coming out to everyone else.
Check. I might just unplug this whole. I might just unplug this whole mic and go. Let's.
I think you were saying.
Peace, y'all hear me?
I still hear an echo.
Yeah, a little bit worse.
Are any one of us playing this video at the same time?
Let me fix this mic real quick. Default mic. All right. Can everybody hear me? Do y'all hear me? I'm speaking. Do y'all hear me? No?
Yes, I do. Do you want me? Suppose I mute. If I mute.
Give me a second.
How's that when I mute?
That's actually talk, Rich.
All right, you'll hear me now, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was it.
Okay, great. Yeah, I had to just make a few adjustments, but I'm good now. So like I said, if
you're talking about Amazon, Rich.
Right, thank you, my brother. Let me share this again. Thank you. I forgot exactly where I left off. My mother's book that I'm talking about honoring the ancestors, and my mother my sister has released a book of my mother's. She wrote it before she made a transition in 2007. It has just been released, and I am extremely proud. I am an extremely proud son. Woo! An extremely proud son, family.
Yes.
If y'all knew how proud the son was for his mother, I'm there. I mean, I'm very proud. So I'm so proud. I had to call the heavy hitters. I called Panic, Billy, and Dr. Valentine. I'm bringing out everybody's like, yo, where did this show come from? This show came from the love of my mother, the love I have of my mother.
That's right.
So if you want to know what the love a son has for his mother produces, this show is an example of that. If you want to know where this show came from and why is it happening, why are they talking about this, I'm just grateful and thankful that these brothers support me and love me enough to participate in this, because these are three brothers that I work closely with within the last 5 years. So I said these three brothers would be perfect to help me promote it and to help me get ready for my show that I'm doing on Thursday. So family, you could go to Amazon. It's called Kayla, Petey, in the Forest. It's by Adrian Merritt and Tiffany Merritt. As y'all know, I'm Richard Merritt. My name is Richard. If y'all want to know my full name, Richard Michael Swift Merritt. That's my full name. That's the name I decided to incarnate down here with. Yeah, Richard Michael Swift Merritt. Swift is from my father's side.
Gotcha.
Merritt. That's my mom's side. Merritt is my mom's side. So my dad was Richard Swift, and my mom was Adrian Merritt. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
my father, for those
on the street, I'm calling you Swift for now. Never I see you outside. Brother Rich on the inside, but on the outside,
it's Swift. I hear you, man.
Rich, what time are you on Thursday?
Probably the same time, 9
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
That's
yeah,
the
9.
biggest question ever.
Yeah, thanks for Panic. Thank you, my brother, because I'm forgetting, sir. Thank you, I appreciate it. And also a reminder, family. Panic will be back on Friday. Just me and him. We're gonna be just kicking it. Me and Panic Friday. Billy and Phil will be on soon. So all three of these gentlemen is gonna be on real soon. Tonight was just a show to kick it about something that's very important, ancestor and not honoring our ancestors, and just that one question was all with these brothers just dropped an amazing lecture with that one question. So all of them will be on pretty soon within the next 3 weeks. The first one will be Brother Panic. That's this Friday. Like I said, this Thursday, I'm gonna do a special show honoring my mother. Tune in 9 p.m. We're gonna get to the next question. Before we do, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm gonna share the link right now. I just shared the link, family. So if you are interested in supporting Brother Rich, supporting his mother, Adrian Merritt, his sister Tiffany Merritt, and showcasing divinity in our image, which we need to see. We don't see much of.
Right.
Make sure you buy that book right there. Make sure you buy that book on Amazon. All right, so moving on. We passed the first 30 minutes of the show. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We've got almost 3,500 people in the building right now. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Make sure the Cash App is on the screen. It's important to support these brothers, Dr. Valentine, Brother Panic, Billy Carson. All of their Cash Apps is on the screen right now. Support these gentlemen and what they do. They all, like I said in the beginning, I said there are many paths to the light. These three gentlemen are different paths. And through those different paths, you might intersect with another path. I personally, I'm gonna say this again because it's important. I was not ready for Dr. Valentine when I first started in this journey when I was about 19 years old. And I started out, what got me into the journey is Booker T. Coleman. Coleman, yeah. Listening to him, he made me a little more comfortable to elevate to a Bobby Hemmett or a Dr. Valentine. So Booker T was my gateway into the information. I also Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben. So yeah, it eventually led me to Dr. Valentine, the big leads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got brothers like Panic, where shit. I mean, his type
yeah,
of
just my Carson alone is hard for folks.
So I mean, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
But listen, what I want to get to with this second question, I want to pose to you, gentlemen. A lot of talk about DNA, as we know how much our ancestors is connected to our DNA. And as Billy mentioned, our ancestors actually go to live inside of us. With everybody's talking about the age of Aquarius, and we're getting the DNA upgrades, and that shift that just happened in December. And there's just a lot of talk about DNA. Scientists say that over 90-something% of our DNA is junk DNA. So my question to you, gentlemen, would be, since 90-something% of our DNA is so-called junk DNA, and our ancestors is connected to our DNA, and we've been taught not to honor our ancestors because of religion, is honoring our ancestors the key to unlocking junk DNA when we do it the right way?
Good question. Wow.
Thank you, brother.
You to me first?
Yeah, yes.
Well, remember, there was a book Bobby told me about 94. And when he introduced it, he was like, this is Brother Bobby Hemmett. He said, all this shit is just regurgitated. All of this shit is whatever piece of information out there, authors' interpretations on them over and over again. But this particular book, every once in a while, they'll put it under someone's name and they'll just put some shit out that they stole. He said this is one of those books, and it was written in a way where it was like Chinese arithmetic. So I know he wasn't fucking with it. And so he gave it to me, and I picked it up, got parts, picked it up for years, 2004. Until last year, I was able to read this shit like Dr. Seuss and regurgitated it, put it under our umbrella, and spoke about it because she decoded all the funerary texts, but the pyramid texts in general, to this cosmic and DNA level. And when she spoke about junk DNA, what she talked about is, this is the upside down world. Our eyes see this world upside down. So the first thing the guard is turned over, they talk about, because they're about to put you in the world of right side up, which is the quantum world, which is what the Kamites saw the afterlife as, the true world. So in the upside down world of Set, you must have the eye of Horus must become the eye of Osiris. You're creating this Osirian body. Once I found this shit out, it made Avatar a different movie. That white boy was becoming, remember, we would say, because of our mind control, the guy who said, I will fly with you, he's just a sellout nigga. I had to watch this shit again after I studied the pyramid text, and that dude didn't exist. He was becoming him. Only the girl seen him from her love imagination, and he was becoming him. He was taunting him with doubt, and eventually started saying, "May I speak?" He was talking to himself. If you watch it again, so he was becoming the Osirian body. They keep showing you this. We know this transformation, but then when I decoded the Wizard of Oz, I did it as a chakra story, which was easy years ago, but placing against the pyramid text, what she said is, when you get in this world, the junk DNA wakes up, and it stays up if you were conscious and had enough light to go through the process of changing to the Osirian body. All the gods are there on your boat. Your boat is what travels through these different gateways of different transformation. We're dead now. It's happening now. We're stuck in the house of the double lion. In the house of the double lion is what they showed you as the cowardly lion. One minute he's a coward, and then the next minute he always has courage. He has a duality to him that I broke down in much more detail. But the junk DNA was the munchkins. When she got there, that was her junk DNA waking up. And each time the witch came, they fell back down and went to sleep. The witch represented Set, or her dark side, or that which was in her that she had to fight, her war with that which she didn't know about herself. This represented the witch, and that is played out on Earth. She was trying to bring her ass technically back to Earth. So the munchkins represent the junk DNA, and they tell you at this point the junk DNA comes online, but you have to be conscious enough as you go through the pathway to keep that junk DNA online, because it becomes valuable in where you're going, not where you're at. Everybody, this is a 2-strand place. We got to get used to it. Death is the key. It's the key. You got to know this stuff. But let me say this clearly. You still can do shit to live well now.
Yeah.
I live deliciously. And that's a fact for many of you. So you don't have to suffer and wait for your day of death, but know that nothing here matches your preparation for this time. It's your possibility to move on to greater things, but those things will be evident in the consciousness, and that's why we're here. We're trying to tell you the tools.
Okay,
it's up to you always.
Billy? Yeah, Billy.
Yes.
I'm gonna use that, man. I live deliciously.
Yeah, oh yeah. That was one of my.
You heard that? You heard that passion?
I've been rocking that shit for. I used to rock that when I was starting to show people you don't have to be poor.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it. I love it. That's going into my repertoire, man. I love that.
Deliciously.
Deliciously.
Woo, I heard that passion, brother. I heard it.
I got all the ignorant shit. All the stuff.
Okay. Hey, I love it. I love it, man.
But nothing more
is
important than dealing with the mind, dealing
right.
with the heart, and dealing with the transformation. You
absolutely.
You got that.
No problem. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Billy, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, keep in mind, everyone, we are supporting Bro.Rich and his mother's book, Kayla PD.
Yes, let me say that too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brother Billy. I didn't get a chance to say. Rich,
That's
you already know the score.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My granddaughter needs that immediately, so I'm gonna hit Amazon and get it. I'm sorry, Billy.
Oh yeah, no problem. It's all good. Yeah, I just bought 21 copies of the book. One and 20 that I'm gonna give away.
That's my brother right there.
I like the way that's
yeah.
Like the way that's
because we need to see ourselves.
Now I gotta go and top. Now I gotta go buy some more. I can't just buy one. No, I can't just buy one. You know that shit. I just can't buy one.
Oh man,
you gotta support man.
Long as my man Swift gets it.
Swift, there you go. Go ahead, Billy. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So when I go to give out these school supplies to these young elementary school kids, I'm gonna stuff in those book bags, one in each one till all 20 are used up. Yeah. So no problem, man. I appreciate it. It's a blessing to be able to take part in that. When you look into the genetics and you look into biology and DNA, you find out that the Homo sapiens sapien, we do have this thing called junk DNA. But see, the people at the top, they understand wordplay. They understand wordplay on another level. And so the wordplay behind calling it junk, it forces us, or it programs us, I should say, to dismiss it as something that means nothing and has absolutely no value.
Right.
Junk. Oh, because junk is garbage. Junk is unneeded stuff. Junk is, don't even look over here. Don't even research it. Don't even spend your energy looking into it, because it's just junk, It reminds me of some of the anomalies that I see and stuff, and the people that give us those images say, "Oh, it's just junk. It's just nothing." So what we have to understand is that this junk is not junk. When these people tell you that something is worthless or garbage or junk, that's when you need to look into it the hardest. That's when you got to go, you know what? They're trying to cover something up. Let me go deeper into what this junk is. And as you begin to dig deeper, you realize that as you go down to different levels of hominid that existed on this planet, that a lot of these nodes, a lot of these DNA nodes were connected in the past. And right now, this version of Homo sapiens sapien, they've been purposely disconnected. But what and this is in ancient stone tablets, what I'm saying. This is coming from stone tablets and then combining that with research at Harvard University and Stanford University. Now, they found that this disconnected DNA energetically is still connected to something, because it's still firing off and sending and receiving information. So they found out that DNA stores information. It's actually stored digital bits of information like zeros and ones. This actual scientist connected DNA into a computer, to a server, and he downloaded his ebook onto DNA. I think he replicated it 80 billion times on 1 gram of DNA. That's enough to put a drop on the tip of your finger. 80 billion copies of his ebook. But the book had colored images and pages and information. It wasn't just all text. Yeah. And they found out through this process of taking the ACs, Ts, and Gs in DNA, through this very simple process, converting the ACs, Ts, and Gs into zeros and ones through a chemical process. And then once you have this laid out in zeros and ones, you can encode data onto the DNA directly. And then through a reverse process, you can convert the zeros and ones back into A's, T's, C's, and G's. And then you can upload that information back up into a server. So this is like really interesting stuff. So I started digging a little bit deeper and finding out that DNA is a storage medium. And the DNA in one human body can store 13.5 billion years of data. Ironically, that's how old the universe is. So we have the entire universe stored in our body. And so this is why they don't want you to dig deeper into this junk DNA, because once we begin to elevate our consciousness, once this DNA begins to plug back into the physical avatar body, and we be able to discern the information that's on it, it's going to wake humanity up to a whole nother level. We're talking about, forget fifth dimensional, thinking. I'm talking about seventh, eighth dimensional thinking, consciousness. And so this is why they're covering it up, because it really will bring back a lot of what used to be basic gifts, like psychic abilities, telekinesis, and all these things that people are now, like the indigo kids, are coming in with. And some people that seem to be older have developed these particular gifts. They're like the X-Men right now, but soon the X-Men will be the normal men as we begin to re-encode and replug in these DNA strands. They're not dead, they're not junk. They're still active and they're still firing off and they're still sending and receiving information. And because every thought that we think is encoded with digital bits of data and goes out of the skull into the universe permanently, that's the Akashic record field, that energetic field that stores all information from energetic light, conscious light waves. This DNA is sending and receiving. They found out in the science laboratory that DNA can send and receive wireless information as well and convert it into data and upload it back to a data state. So our bodies literally are holding on to this information, storing it, and all the keys to unlocking the human, the consciousness, and the universe are stored inside the human avatar body. They do not want us to realize that truth.
Amazing. Dr. Valentine?
Indeed. Well, first of all, thank you very much, gentlemen. Very refreshing to hear such powerful words. Bro.Rich, just want to again, congratulate you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
And we will be supporting that definitely. We do have connections. We are mentors for children as well. Excellent. So we're definitely going to be talking about that. Next thing I want to tell you is I will suggest you lead off your show coming up with the main ingredients version of I'm So Proud.
Woo! I will. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you. Oh man, I know that.
By you,
you Panic. You know that real good.
Cry or something. Ooh, that felt good.
Panic. You used to be a singer, Panic. I hear you, man.
Damn, yeah. Boy, you hit that shit just now.
That was my thing. That's what I used to do.
Looking up in the sky.
Oh man, I opened up for the main ingredients back in the day, the Cheetah, and the Delphonics and all of them. But anyway, just to let this,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Definitely.
To pivot off of that, what the brothers were speaking about, I look at the so-called junk DNA as the rubble that is left in the different temples. You see the scattered rocks around these edifices that is essentially nothing more than evidence of a once great time. The junk DNA, as the brothers were saying so astutely, is what's going to actually come together as we rise spiritually. It's there as components for the resurrection. What has happened is we are being told by science, which is ridiculous. We are stuck in a redundancy. If you were to actually break down the DNA as it stands right now, you will see a lot of repetitions. That repetition is what has actually kept us consolidated in third density. Now, all of the rubble that you see around us, or the so-called junk DNA, is what is evidence of how far we've fallen. You always talk about how man has fallen. Well, the discordant, what you call the discordant DNA, was once evidence of the 22 strands of DNA. Not 6, not 12, but 22. And those 22 strands were actually being represented in the 22 major letters of the Kabbalah. And if you stack them on the one on top of the other, the letters one on top of the other, you will create a rod of energy, the energy dynamic that becomes the sigil that causes the energies of the so-called junk DNA to begin to match. They fit like a puzzle. And we were at one time a very asexual entity that took on the DNA in the lesson plan necessary for us as we began to fall into third density and into duality. We're right now super seniors. We're supposed to have been gone, but what has happened is there are entities like the Pope and these entities in the Vatican and different areas that have been suppressing the upward evolution by poisoning the very instrument necessary for that. And what have they done? They have substituted it with a virtual reality. The true technology that surpasses all other fascinating technology that we create, or they create, is because they cannot ascend. Melanin and its higher activity in human beings is actually necessary because melanin is not a color, it's not a polymer, it's an intelligence. And it is suffused throughout us. It's what makes us the 666. It's the foundation of the physical body. But it's also the part Jesus Christ in Revelations spoke about the fact that he was Lucifer. Most people don't know that in chapter, I believe it's 23, or chapter 6, or chapter 23, verse 16, I believe it is, or look in the back when he speaks about I am the scion of David and the bright morning star. Well, there were two resurrections. There were two saviors. The first savior was Lucifer. Most people don't want to hear that, of course.
Right.
Why? Because Lucifer was that aspect of the creator that liberated Adam, or the atom, from his perfection. Because perfection equals death. Anything that's perfect cannot exist beyond itself.
Right.
Perfection equals death, and Eden was in this place of perfection. It was static. Therefore, Lucifer came in the garden and freed the atom from that static space, took it out of perfection, and cast it forth into perfecting, which is perfection. Perfecting is dynamic, perfection is static. So we are now in that stage where the Christ came back and said, okay, now I'm going to help you to ascend or transcend and to be rescued from this garden, which has gotten you so far into ultra matter that you forgot who you were. The DNA, the discordant DNA, is what's coming together in the perfecting cycles, because we are in duality. That's the agitation. We are in the perfecting cycle so that the creator, which does not know itself because it is perfect, cannot know itself. It is all. And for you to know yourself, you have to be outside of yourself or within yourself. There is no such thing as creation. There is only limitation. And the creator limited itself, and we were born, we were created. And so we have become the avatar of the creator's own self-discovery. What we learn about ourselves is a feedback, as the brother said. That's what the DNA is. It is to keep us connected to the one most high. We are the feedback mechanism. Everything we do, we are the teachers. We are the greater parts of God. We are God folded over unto itself to know itself. The DNA is nothing more than a feedback mechanism to that creator. And the creator is the feedback mechanism to our perfection and our perfecting. The DNA and what they discovered of the DNA is nothing but a lightning rod for evolution and transcendence. And when you look at and you study Kabbalah, and you study Gematria, and you study those figures that you see, Aleph, Beta, Gamma, and all of these are connected directly to the stars in the dome, because every specific sign that you see in the Kabbalah, in the language, the geometric language, is up in the sky. There is a star for every letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And that is within us. When you stack them together, that becomes the lightning rod that raises your DNA, the discordant DNA, and brings back together the 22 strands that was once our perfecting.
Listen, man, this is what it's about. This is what I signed up for this shit for. This is what I got involved in consciousness for. It's for shit like this. And pardon the language, family, but I use words like that to express emotion. And when I express emotion, you don't hear me, you feel me. So pardon the language, but you feel it when I say that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's
but
that swift.
Now they say that people who are listen, that's all right, because they say they did the study, psychology study, and say everybody who swears and so forth, they have a higher degree of intelligence.
I've heard that. I've heard
must
that.
Be a genius. Let me tell you this, Billy. When it was all just radio, I said I'm gonna bring Dr. Lean or Brother Wayne Chandler in. So I was giving out flyers, and nobody knew me. That was a bad idea, but. Then I got to a place, Dr. Delbert Bear was speaking, so I gave everybody flyers, and I was talking to people. They found out, oh, Brother Panic. So there was a elder who came, and I just immediately started apologizing, like, oh, I know I cursed a lot. I'm sorry, I wouldn't dare curse in front of my grandmother. Or my mother. It feels like they're standing here. I'm embarrassed. He said, what, me and this bitch listen to your motherfucking ass all the time? I said, oh, okay. That's when I knew that was over. I started getting less and less. But then I think it became like a litmus test. If people could get past my cursing, they would always say, I just stuck with it and goddamn.
Right.
So
if spiritually, if the message ain't for them that I have, the cursing blocks them.
Right.
I can't get past the cursing. Good. That's what it's there for. It's a barrier as well. I know.
Yeah.
But she
it happened with me a lot.
She said, being this bitch, listen to your motherfucking ass.
That's hilarious.
Bro. Another old bitch. It was old.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
That's hilarious. Listen, I'm gonna ask because I know once again, family, all of these gentlemen are in different time zones. Billy Carson is actually in Egypt right now, so it's like 4 a.m. where he's at. So thank you, brother, for joining this this panel discussion. I got one more question. We're gonna let these gentlemen go. Keep in mind they will be back separately within the next 3 weeks, all three of them. Panic will be back on Friday. Billy will be back on sometime next week. I might have him and Blue Pill on. I'm not sure. We're gonna talk. Me and Billy, Blue Pill got something special coming up for everybody. And Dr. Valentine, he does his webinars because he's banned from basically all social media. So me and Dr. Valentine promote his webinars, and it's explosive. So I'm gonna connect with him. He's gonna have something soon also. So they will be back on individually soon. Right now, we can't stay long, different time zones. Appreciate what you got tonight. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, A1 type level information. I'm so proud of this. Listen, the last question I want to ask, since considering what we was talking about just now and the cursing and things of that nature, I want to end it out with morality, energetic work, and ancestor work and effectiveness. Now, each culture has a different version. You know how they have different versions of the matrix? Each culture has different versions of morality. One culture says, hey, you could do this, but you can't do that. Another culture rises and say, hey, nah, nigga, you can do this, but you can't do that. And they're like, oh, you're bad. And they're like, no, you bad. And there's all this finger pointing, like, no. It's like, it's just, my view of what's right, your view was right versus your view was right. And whoever's the most powerful gets to decide what's right for the masses. So when it comes to ancestor work, that's something we do on an individual level. Nobody's around, the president, the police, the government. This is just you and your ancestors, what you decide to do with your ancestors in terms of effectiveness on an energetic level. What I want to ask is that I know a lot of people give alcohol to their ancestors. A lot of people do different things for their ancestors. I remember when my uncle passed away. Now, my uncle, his name, I like to say the names because I feel as though it invokes the energy that they inhabited here. His name was Charles Preston Merritt. Shout out to Charles Preston Merritt. He was a big time hustler in Harlem in his day. And, back in that day in the 70s, 80s, there was a lot of cocaine going around. So he sold cocaine and he also snorted cocaine. So, So when he passed away, a friend of the family actually put a little bit of cocaine in his soup. It was like, hey, his nickname was Big Red. It was like, hey, Big Red, take that with you, Big Red. A little bit of cocaine. Now, from a conscious level, from a morality level, the person said, oh my God, Bro.Rich, do you condone that? That is insane. What the hell? Like, oh my God, why did you even mention that? From a morality aspect. But now I think I heard Bobby said, shit, if it's good for them, it's good for me. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of if an ancestor say he snorted a little cocaine, and this is a real question. This ain't on the intellectual, but this is a real. He snorted cocaine while he was alive. This is something he did for fun. We smoke marijuana for fun. That's what they did in the 70s. So he snorted cocaine for fun while he was in this realm. And his friends decided when he passed to put a little bit of that in his casket. Would you consider that ancestor work? Because a lot of people from a morality panic is like, yeah, nigga. Yeah. A lot of people from a morality perspective, you have to do things the Mayat way. So I'm trying to figure out, how do we honor the ancestors since they were all into so much different shit? You know what I'm saying? On some real shit. So Panic, starting out with you, my brother. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to offer Billy the first slot if he has to go.
Okay.
Billy, okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, because I'm getting ready to go on this caravan outside.
Yeah, so Billy, you'll say that after you finish, Billy, just leave your contact information and then you can go, my brother.
Okay, hey, appreciate y'all. It's been a blessing to be on here. It's been amazing. I'm looking forward to watching this later. Yeah. Some great gems here, and also some good laughter.
Definitely, laughter is important.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to honoring your ancestors, of course, there's a lot of different religions, and there's a lot of different rituals, I would say. And you even have rituals within rituals. You can have, like, for example, gang members. They have a particular ritual when they lose someone that they love that's in their gang. And we're all trying to honor the ancestors at our level of understanding, I think. And so I don't see anything wrong with it, to be quite honest with you, because it isn't the fact that the packet of drugs was put inside the suit or whatever at this person's funeral. It's not the fact of, something that this person was into. We threw that down into the casket with them, because at the base level, we all really understand that they're not really there anymore. They've already ascended, and the body is just an empty shell. what it really comes down to is showing gratitude. And gratitude is a powerful, powerful thing in the universe. I did a whole series, a whole show on Amazon Prime TV, and just Amazon Prime TV, where I talked about gratitude for about an hour. And so you realize what they're doing is they're showing a certain level of gratitude, and that ties into unconditional love. And however they represent it, however they come forth with it, however they, participate in it, whatever ritual that anyone does, or even if it's something outside of a ritual where somebody decides to do in honor of that person or that ancestor, there's nothing wrong with it, in my personal opinion. They're trying to show a level of gratitude in the best way that they know how, in the way that they feel that that person or that frequency of that person would have realized or recognized this person is showing true unconditional love and also gratitude. And gratitude and unconditional love help you vibrate at the highest frequency. So I don't care what it is, it's still showcasing that fact of gratitude. And so that's really an important thing, because we find that the gratitude is what leads to freedom. Gratitude is what unlocks you from the chains, and it unbinds you from chains. It also is something I believe that if we all showed more gratitude in our daily lives, our lives would become a lot more peaceful and more happy and more joyful, rather than being stressful and chaotic. And so gratitude that we show to our ancestors is something also that can pour out and, into your everyday life. For example, I have a lot of gratitude for you, Bro.Rich, because you provide this platform that allows hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to get access to information that's hard to come across, and hear people talk in lectures and workshops that's hard to come across. And so because of that, you're doing some serious light work. And so when I go on here and buy these, I bought the 21 books already while we were talking. That's a level of gratitude. It's not showboating. It's not. I'm showing like I want to be lead like by example, and say, guys, look, support this brother, support his mother's work, because he's out here on this platform and taking a lot of personal time. You have a kid and everything else. You have a family life. You have everything else you have to do as a person. But yet still, you'll hop on in for 2-3 hours like nothing, and help share knowledge, light, and love with the world. So I believe that my showing my gratitude, saying, look, I'm gonna support you, man, and whatever you do to the best of my ability. And so it's the same thing that's going on, I believe, with the ancestors, man. It's just really about showcasing that level of gratitude for them, no matter what the method is that you use. I really do believe that there's nothing wrong with it, and it comes down to really just base love for that entity that was here, that frequency that was here, man, and showing them like, look, I recognize you, I see you, and you kind of like giving them their flowers, even though they're gone.
Indeed. Leave your contact information, my brother, because I know you got to go. My brother's in Egypt, family. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, yeah, better make this documentary. Started working on this documentary, starting today. Yeah, again, my name is Billy Carson, also known as Forbidden Knowledge. You can go to my website, forbiddenknowledge.com, with the number 4 BIDDEN knowledge. You can also go to forbiddenknowledge.tv, and you can get a 3-day free trial on Forbidden Knowledge TV. Now we have 5,200 shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV. So peace. I love every single one of y'all. Thank you for having me on. It was an honor to be on here with you guys, Brother Panic, and of course the living legend, Dr. Phil Valentine. I appreciate you so much, man, for all the work, all the years, all the talks, a lot of information I've learned from you over the years. So it was an honor. It's like the pinnacle of my talking career, right? To be on here on this video with you right now.
Give thanks, brother.
Thank you.
All right. With that being said, Billy Carson, we're gonna see. You'll be back on probably next week, so very soon.
No problem. I'll still be in Egypt, but you know me, I'll wake up and be out here.
All right, peace, brother. Enjoy your stay in Egypt.
Thank you.
Peace. All right, Brother Panic. Yeah, you could continue with the.
Okay, ask the question one more time.
So basically, about morality and in terms of us honoring our ancestors, sometimes honoring our ancestors don't really fit into the moral equation with a lot of people. So somebody decided to give my uncle some cocaine because he sold cocaine and snorted cocaine while he was on this earth plane. Is that a way of honoring our ancestors? Is it some ignorant shit? Is it something we don't understand? Let's dig into that, Brother Panic.
First and foremost, if no one gave them cocaine, they fucked up. When you're trying to connect with a spirit, you're trying to connect with what they know. So you can just start there. So that's why Crips do what Crips do, Bloods do what they do, because they're sending them off with the idea that their spirit needs comfort.
Okay.
Nothing says like, I'm gonna need some coke on this particular ride, son. Nothing says that's morality is a fictional creation. It's what you're taught, and as you pointed out, wherever you're taught it at, it could be totally different. You go to jail for looking at a 16, 17-year-old, but they get married at 14 and 15 over here, and it's just acceptable. And no one says nothing, and no one tries to stop it. It's your circle of behavior. It's really social. Like if I came into the lecture, started smelling every girl's hair, you smell scrumptious. No, I know you're a goddess. That's why I'm doing it. You're a goddess. Like, you'd be like, this nigga's crazy. Right. And there will be repercussions. Yes. Smelling some niggas queens. Nigga, you smelling my girls here? Like, so all of that to say, that's morality that makes you sit in that seat. Because some dudes are sitting there actually thinking about it. Damn, I wish I could just smell every girl's hair in here. I know they shampoo. He's thinking about it. But the morality is saying he's thinking of consequences and embarrassment and all the things you were taught, certain social behavior that may have crossed their mind, you can't do. So that kind of stretches in everything. But the master morality teacher was religion. So when now what I've seen as applied to ancestors is religion, a moral approach to what ancestors are, and a very narcissistic one. The ancestors are watching me. The ancestors are doing that. Listen, I talked to them plenty of times. They don't give a fuck. It's just ignorant energy signatures left behind. The body's left on earth. The spirit goes into the astral world. The soul may get another body, or the soul may move on, but the spirit lives as much as it's remembered. So if they're pouring liquor and have pictures and giving food and giving energy to it, it's an energy thing that gives back. So whatever it was connected to, you got to flow with it. Bobby Hemmett, real quick, told me a story. He was stuck somewhere. He gave me a call. Yeah, I did a lecture. I'm stuck. I got to stay extra day. Airplanes, and this is a whole spiritual house. He got room on this farm, room after room. He said, I went into the jazz room, and he had Billie Holiday up, and his offering was heroin. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He said the dude told him Billy wants the hard shit. I've given everything. I've been asked for everything, like turkey burgers, from ancestors, through trees, I could go on and on. But I go in the spirit world, my pants down, and you got to remember it's Negroes. One other quick thing, early on, when I was doing it, my yacht came through. And I'm like, oh, goddess of reciprocity, who brings balance, who comes forth as the healing of the wing Isis, because there's healing in her wing. She said, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, well, what you want, bitch? She said, oh, now we could get down to business. Then I knew early on, why would we be talking like that to them? They're us. They're niggers. And when I started talking more niggery to them, everybody came. There was no, oh, this is my moment, nigger shit. When Michael Jackson came, I told you this on your show, when Michael Jackson died, he said, how you get in other realms, that agitation that we call fighting down there, he said, over there, it's called playing the dozens. He was showing me how to play the dozens. I went to this realm, 3 cats had it blocked off. I just said, your mom's got a 3-story house in the underground. And they found, in the underworld, they found it so funny. They said the past. I said, oh, that's how it's no war. It's no eat. We laugh. So there's no, the moral system that we have here, that's not even in it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you must have these experiences yourself to find out what you define as the new moral system for you and how you interact with that which speaks back.
Okay. Dr. Valentine, you can close it out on that question, my brother.
Well, I can only say this, that the ancient, what they call pharaohs, or the Nasut of ancient Kemet, they came over here to get their cocaine. Right.
We had the best shit.
Over here, we grew the best shit.
The Nasut Biti.
Yes, right. The Nasut Biti came over here to score. And when we opened up a lot of the sarcophaguses, they found cocaine.
Right.
And they found cocaine in the in the bodies when they took the DNA and they took samples of the flesh, because we had mastered how to preserve bodies. So when they were taking apart, some of the so-called pharaohs, and they were doing some DNA, they would find all kind of cocaine up in the system. And they used to know. They used to take ships over here, and they used to catch the current and get into the Gulf of Mexico, and they would border their ships with all kind of cocaine and bring it back. And that was actually, and there was something that they used to do. They used to do the gold. They used to take gold and fire it up to a specific heat, and once you heat it up, it begins to turn to a powder.
Yeah,
and that powder was called white powder gold. And it used to be called mufkazut. Mufkazut was actually the substance that actually was the same with Sekhmet. Sekhmet and mufkazut were together because they would fire up your face and your nostrils. But what it would do is the more you took mufkazut, the less you were able to stay in the sunshine, which was why Imhotep built an underground city, because after you take it, you begin turning into that vampire energy.
Ooh, wow.
And when they were chasing Akhenaten and his boys out of when Horemheb tasked Ramesses to kick Akhenaten out of Amana, they snatched up a whole barrelfuls of mufkazut.
Damn.
And
mufkazut.
Yeah, that's what we teach you about it.
I'm down.
Well, you got to find. No, that's how they were dealing with anti-gravity. Because
I remember you guys teaching on that.
Right. When you heat up gold, the white powder gold, when you hit that up, and it displaces the electromagnetic field, and you could lift 10, 20, 30, 40-ton box and just fit them in very nicely.
You said that's how they did the pyramids.
That's how they did pyramids, and European can't figure out how they did it down there in South America either. These are all times when those ancestors left. The ancestors who built what they're only now fascinated about, they're no longer here, just the seeds are here that they planted. And that's what they're suppressing by creating the virtual reality. And this is what we got with the show Nuff. That's what that's about. It's to suppress. It's about to link us up into the AI, because it's made of what I call synthetic melanin. That's that graphene. That's synthetic melanin. So they're putting it there so that it would disrupt the natural cycle for your body. See, so the thing we don't understand is that the notion of creation has already embedded in it resurrection and redemption. Creation has the seed of redemption already in it, and we are put through cycles of incarnation until such time as we fall into that place where the physical body and physical things no longer attract us, and all we are here to do is to help to bring love and enhance the love cycles of the planet. And when we get to that particular stage, there are entities that want us to suppress that because they feed on us. The more pain we have, the more they feed.
Right.
the more agitation they have, because they can't get past.
Right.
You see, melanin is what actually is that's the trigger for ascension. So what they can't do, they usually put exoskeletons on. So all of the movies you see out there today have these exoskeletons, Iron Man, and all of this stuff that because their melanin can't take them to the next stage. It can't strengthen their spirituality. So instead of us getting into the original technology, which is your physical body, and we learn how to master this technology, they got us out here studying in their school to master their technology, because that's going to stifle and make this technology obsolete. And that's what they want. So now you're going to start seeing glitches in the matrix. You're going to start seeing people fading in and out because the vibrations are rising to a whole other density level where people have tangibilities and they come and visit. That's why people they'll be on a highway driving, and all of a sudden somebody appears out of nowhere and you veer out of the way. It's because they're skipping, what you call dimensionally skipping. And so what you deal with when the time comes, if you're not working on this, they're working on it and they're suppressing it. So that little thing that you go in there and you rolling your sleeves up for, that's connecting you to the AI. The AI already has a template of you. The material that's in there is gone all the way down. And I'm going to tell you this. I had to say this to you all. They told you that this thing that they created was actually created based upon a computer generated. It was computer generated. It ain't real.
Right.
Well, what happened is they began feeding information into the AI about what a human being is. And they went all the way down to the microcosmic level and fed that into the computer. And after they got all the information they could, from down to the genetics, to the atomic structure, to the molecular structure, they then asked the computer, how do we undermine this defensive system? And so the computer came up with that which they're using right now.
Whew, shit. That's what fool.
So now, what people don't understand is what they've done is the materials are causing you to become broadcasters. You're supposed to be broadcasting to that infinite. You're supposed to be going out there. They've intercepted it. HARP has tapped into the waveform, the wavelengths that is circulating around our plane of existence. HARP tapped into that, and that stuff that's in there is locking into that and teaching the AI all about what you are. And they've already got duplicates of you in the AI. And that AI is going to be feeding into the you know about what a sigil is. You know what a sigil is. Well, you have become a sigil. You become a sigil for this world that the computer is building. And you are the ones that's teaching the computer what a human is, and they're making you obsolete. So now, if you are not dealing with your spirituality, and that's the reason why they put that cocaine in there, because the M-dimethyltryptamine, when you snort that up, it kicks in the N-dimethyltryptamine, and your body has the strongest psychotropic. I don't care if it's cocaine, it could be crack, all of that. Your body has the highest and most purest and the strongest form of get high that can be created. Your brain does that.
Right.
Okay. And that's what they don't want you to tap into, because once you raise the first eye, not the third, because the first eye, this was the eye that was created first. These two, they match the dual plane. They came afterwards. Your first eye is where that the fuel that opens it up is the N-dimethyltryptamine. And when you raise that kundalini and kick that bad boy in, that's what lights the lamp of God that taketh away the sins of the world.
Right.
Okay. And you know what the Ark of the Covenant is? Every time when your pineal explodes, you kick out phosphine particles. And what happens is inside of that, the cave of Brahma, because where the pineal is, it's covered in a black cave. That's what they call the cave of Brahma.
Right.
Once you kick that in and you raise that kundalini, it begins doing this. It begins turning left and right. It begins to rotate. It's picking up the higher frequency. So your pineal, as it's raised, it begins to rotate, and it's kicking out all these sparks. It looks like the 4th of July inside of your head. And when that hits in there, there's all this mist gets kicked in with the phosgene, and it creates a rainbow over the top of your pineal.
Nice.
That is the first and true ark of the covenant. One no ark that you carry around. The
Right.
Ark of the Covenant is the rainbow that is created at the time when your kundalini is raised. And that's what they want to stop. That's your escape mechanism. That's your get out of this jail free. It's in here and it's all free. But you can't free yourself if you're down here worrying about the next and that,
Right.
and you're worrying about getting your next Game Boy. That's what they got you. They got you playing a game, boy. Understand? They got you trapped. So just to wrap it up, thank you very much, first of all, for you opening this thing up. We want to give praises to your mother,
Yes,
and accolades to your sister. And I will be definitely turning the mentees on to the book. And you definitely, you know what you do? Send me the link, and I'm going to pass it on to her. And yeah, we're going to get about 50, maybe 100 of them to pass out to the children.
Definitely appreciate it. I will send you the link, family. I'm including the link again for those who are interested in my mother's children's book that she wrote before she made the transition into the ancestral realm that has just recently been published. I just included the link in the chat room. Make sure you show support. Oh, what an amazing show tonight. What an amazing show. Let me ask, do y'all got time for one more question, or let me ask this?
I'm good.
Dr. Valentine.
All right, I gotta get back to the vaccination.
I know I'm pushing y'all. I'm pushing it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. You want to go first, Brother Phil?
Yeah, if I can, if that's all right.
So Dr. Valentine, go first. It's actually based on something. It's inspired by Panic. He was talking recently about Judy K. King in the book.
Right.
And that's dealing with
ISIS
thesis, and I'm trying to term this where, like I said, my channel got 2 strikes. So, it's dealing with bacteria. Some of it's dealing with bacteria, right?
Yes.
So,
she breaks it down on the bacterial level,
yeah,
the quantum and the cosmic level, and atomic level.
So we understand in the conscious realm, in the conscious community. We talk about a lot about cells and how much cells we have in the body, and how important our cells is. But what's not talked about a lot is that there's 10 microscopic bacteria to every cell, and that there's over 100 trillion bacteria in our gut. So our gut is like, oh shit, it's like a whole civilization in our gut. A whole civilization in our gut. And in fact, 90% of our body's serotonin is produced in our gut. So when we talk about immunity and when we talk about our immune system, it has a lot to do with our gut. What I want to ask you about the bacteria and about our gut is that they say the world we live in is a projected, what Judy K. King says is the world we live in is a projected shadow realm from the quantum protein universe. So she gave the example of there's literally a baseball game going on in the quantum protein realm with, there's a bad guy, there's a good guy, there's an intruder. You might eat something or whatever, and this person has to hit a home run, whatever. There's a game going on inside of us, and that DNA communicates with us. And because we're inspired by what's going on inside of us, and we create these games, we create baseball, we create basketball, we create football, because we're inspired by this shit that's taking place on the inside of us, and that's inspiring us. So my question is, What's the connection between melanin and bacteria? We hear about melanin and this, melanin and that. If we have over 100 trillion bacteria and there's 10 bacteria, microscopic bacteria to every cell, what is our bacteria? Because a lot of people just think bacteria is bad. There's good and bad bacteria. Actually, antibacterial. So I'm not even going to go on that because I don't want to give you two no example to ruin this. But my question is, what is the connection with all that being said and what she's saying? I don't know if it's true or if it's not true. What is the connection between melanin and bacteria? Since we're basically that's all we are is bacteria. What it appears to be.
We are a conglomeration of what, if I may,
yes.
What you're looking at essentially, 85% of the neurological materials in our brains come from what we have in our colon. The bacteria in our colon is responsible for the brain, for all of what it is we have. The brain, the ganglia that we create in our brains comes directly from the gut bacteria. In fact, the milk that mothers are feeding their children through Pryor's glands is connected directly to the nutrition that she gets. The baby feeds the milk. That milk is coming directly from the materials that are given in the mother's large intestines and small intestines. So that is the place where everything takes place, so to speak. All life on the physical realm. Now, as far as bacteria is concerned, these are the sentinels. These are the sentinels.
Ooh, sentinels. Okay.
Yes, they are. They are the sentinels, and they are connected directly to the pituitary and the hypothalamus.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the ones that tell the bacteria what time it is. In other words, they'll scout. They'll go through all different parts of the body, and they will make whatever is necessary. Whatever you say, if the body needs a qualification for the liver, the bacteria now is given that information via the pituitary to go to that area and shore up whatever's necessary for the liver. So bacteria, the good and the bad, so to speak, is the way that the body gives us an indication of what we really need. So for instance, if you have eaten something, or say if you have an intruder, as you were speaking about, and I give this to my students when I teach classical naturopathy. In your lungs, you have something, one of the bacteria that they recognize in the lung is called Staphylococcus. All of us have it in some points. Just like we have the spirochetes that would create syphilis, we all have it. Okay? Now, here's the deal. When you have, say, for instance, the lungs, when something that does not belong in the lungs gets into the lungs, the staphylococcus go to work. They multiply in order to deal with the danger. What happens is when we do have that upset to our normal day, the first thing we say, well, something is wrong. No, the body has given us an indicator that something is going on, and it is doing its best through its own intelligence to get rid of the problem. What you do is run to the doctor, or you go to the medicine cabinet and you suppress the effort of the bacteria. So now the doctor gives you what is called an antibiotic.
Right.
Anti means, again, bio or bios comes from the Greek meaning life. So it's anti-life. Now you take that antibiotic and you try to quell the efforts of the staphylococcus. But the body knows that whatever's in there is a danger to the overall system. So what does the intelligence of the cell do? It strengthens the staphylococcus and changes it, mutates it, evolves it into a streptococcus. So the staphylococcus and the streptococcus are the same. It's just like the staphylococcus is Prince and the streptococcus is Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's doing its best to override what the doctors have done. So now the streptococcus, you're saying, oh man, I got strep. He says, well, did you take an antibiotic? Yeah, but it didn't work. Didn't work. Thank God, because the body said, I'm going to have to get stronger against what this fool is trying to do to stop me from helping this body. Well, you still overload it with an even heavier dose. And so the staphylococcus changes to a streptococcus. The streptococcus now under greater stress turns into a pneumococcus. It's the same thing. But the doctors, because they're myopic, they think it's three different things. And so they classify it as three things because now they can sell you three different types of antibiotics. So the biology or the bacteria in your body are the sentinels of life. They will tell you, based upon what their jobs are, they will task each cell with what they need to do. They're the ones who pick up the information from the hypothalamus and the pituitary and translate it to the cell that they've been assigned to. And if that cell is necessary to grow back your fingernails, your skin, or whatever is necessary, the bacteria will become the agents, or at least the transfer points, the translators of what is necessary for you to maintain your health. But the bacteria also are necessary for you to grow the proper or to resurrect the proper organs in your body so that you can raise your kundalini once again. Because you can't raise your kundalini in a sick body. Matter of fact, you'll kill yourself if you do. You try to do the exercises that raise kundalini and your body is messed up and your nerves in your spine are messed up. And the River Jordan, which is that internal part of your spine, which has what they call this Melanie. Anyway, there is a specific flow in the middle of your spine that's separate from your blood. And that particular fluid is what the Bible calls the River Jordan. The River Jordan is what creates your seed as a man. That's where Christ was actually baptized, remember?
Right.
Baptized of John. Okay? Of John. You didn't say baptized by John. It was baptized of John. And since what you have to understand, there was no J back then. So it was I. So the Christ in you was baptized by the ionic field. The ionic field that was inside of you to amplify that. And then where does it rest? The River Jordan empties into the Sea of Galilee. And what do they call this? Your solar, the sun plexus. So to raise the sun, the Son of God, this is where that saving seed is raised in here. This is the manger that they talk about.
Facts.
In the Bible. Yes. Okay, so what I'm saying to you, family, I'm getting ready to get out of here. It's about you now raising that melanin love inside of yourself. Stop looking outside for your redemption. Your redemption is within. And anyone teaching you any other way other than know thyself, they're perpetrators. They're vampires of consciousness. Okay? Indeed. And that being said, I want to thank you again for this opportunity to address the family. Brother Panic, so good to be with you.
Oh, man, my honor.
Definitely had a good time. And please, everybody, I don't. If you're looking for that thing that I'm doing, please be patient. Mm-hmm. These hands are becoming, I'm getting carpal tunnel writing up, and this. I just had to mail out 20 of these. I've still got more to do tomorrow. So please be patient, everybody.
Right there.
All right.
Hey, Dr. Valentine, I want to thank you. I'm gonna call you probably tomorrow. We're gonna set something up within the next 3-4 weeks. We're gonna see what we could do, and we're gonna have an amazing conversation soon, my brother. But thank you.
Much love to you, family.
Peace, family.
Dr. Valentine.
Brother Panic, close it out for us, brother, because you're gonna come back on Friday. So we're gonna answer this question. We're gonna close it out. Brother Panic family will be back Friday. I don't know exactly what time, but it'll be nighttime. But Brother Panic, close it out for us with that question, my brother.
So real quick, what was the question again?
Oh, you know what? Shit.
Bacteria and melanin.
Yeah, there's we concentrate on the cells, but there's 10 bacteria to every cell, and Judy K. King said that our reality is a projection of our bacterial kingdom.
I got it.
So what's the connection with melanin? If the bacteria is that important, What's the connection, Panic, with? We talk all this shit about melanin. What's the connection with melanin in our bacteria kingdom?
Gotcha. I remember now.
Yes.
First thing we can is there was a viral video that went around when everyone was told to separate, put on a mask, and wash their hands ridiculously all day with that bacteria shit or antibacterial soap. And as Brother Phil just talked about, there was some microbiologists that came up to speak and pretty much said, "What the fuck are y'all doing? We need to be familiar with the bacteria for us to even beat it. This is about your immune system." Now, Judy K. King talked about it as well. First of all, she said the earth is just one big bacteria. She named the spot on each bacterial cell, or whatever type of bacterial cell she named, has an opening, a small opening. And she compared it to, on Earth, the magnetosphere in that hole in the North Pole. That's the small opening we leave out. And she said that's a small opening in bacteria. She did some comparison. She also talked about the importance of bacteria because the immune system, and she named some ridiculous percentage. The junk DNA and all that shit that we were talking about has libraries of bacteria in them over the years. So something about bacteria is, if we could say, you can look at it as the dark side. That's something in our DNA needs to understand to get over. So that's the thing. That's a certain thing I think in the DNA that wins. But after I'd studied these books, they're out of my mind. So go to the Judy K. King book, I would say to folks, to read a little bit more about how it connects. She goes in thoroughly of how it connects to the human body. You'll probably get a better, deeper understanding of it from reading it yourself from her. But everything I've ever seen, the bacteria ultimately was made important based upon the immune system. The immune system getting it. You get what I'm saying? White people in the rush that don't have melanin, the vaccines are how they built up immunity to shit. They would just give themselves little doses of shit. If you read that book Dirt, which I did a few years ago, we went through it, but it's now, because I talked about it so much, back in print. So Dirt by Terrence McLaughlin will tell you everything you need to know from the caves to Europe, and that's as far as I could read to see what was going on with bacteria and dirt and why white people were so at one with it, why they were interfacing with it so much, because they were trying to build up their immune system to the point where it came to vaccines for them, not for you. In your melanin, the melanin is what gets us over the virus or the bacteria or whatever the attack is, and the immune system gets stronger. Somehow that matters. It's the bacteria versus the immune system. Blank. So I'll be back Friday.
Indeed,
We'll get into a little bit more deeper subjects. Rinse out more questions. I'm sure.
Indeed, we're gonna get it. We're gonna come back.
I just want to send honor to your mother, a big salute. I'm always going to tell this story. I had pneumonia, my mother's homecoming. She was passed. Couldn't get to New York. It was a big extravaganza, and boom, I had pneumonia. The one person I could call was Bro.Rich, and I did, and I filmed it, and I seen it. He was there. So it is my absolute humble honor to be here tonight. Rich, no matter who was going to show up, it could have been me and Oscar the fucking Grouch and Rich. I still would have showed up and went through that. I would have fucked the Cookie Monster as a because Rich is he's not a fake. I tried to catch him a couple of times. He's not a fake. He's the real deal. You notice I don't show up or do interviews for nobody else. That's because his heart is in the right place. And y'all people never forget it. Y'all support his mother. This is a big deal. This is a good deal. This is, you get something and you help a good family. I'm telling you, a good family. And I mean that. So, Brother Rich, I'm honored to be here as always. I'm honored, and I still don't feel like I paid you back. But you know you can ask for anything, anytime. So that's what it is. Thank you, Rich.
Hey, my brother, I appreciate it. Like I said, I want to thank everybody. We still got over 4,000 people in here. I'm going to share the link one last time for tonight for those who are interested in buying a book for your family, your loved ones, your children, whoever. If you just want to support, I just shared the link to the children book in the chat. With that being said, I want to thank Brother Panic, Billy Carson, Dr. Valentine for participating in this panel tonight. Absolutely magnificent panel. Go get the book. Kayla, Petey in the forest. With that being said, Panic will be back Friday. We're gonna kick it. It's just me and Panic. We're gonna have one of them laid back, amazing shows. We're gonna kick it Friday. So come back Friday for that. Thursday, I'm gonna do a dedication to my mother, just myself. So if you're interested, come back on Thursday for that. With that being said, family, we're getting out of here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Peace.